A warning first sentence hook. Reports say a rookie quarterback walked into a meeting this week and delivered a message no franchise wanted to hear. Trade me, or watch this situation detonate publicly. But before the feed fires off and every clip goes viral, we need to separate what's reported from what's confirmed, because this story is already bending reality. Reports and insiders describe an explosive moment, but some of the most dramatic quotes swirling online have not been independently verified. Still, the roof did come off the building in the way only the modern NFL can make it. A private moment spilling into a public crisis overnight. It started, according to sources who spoke to reporters, as what was supposed to be a routine offensive meeting. The kind of clinic of angles, reads, and reps coaches hope slides by unnoticed. Instead, one insider says a confrontation snowballed fast. A rookie who was supposed to be lining up to learn instead leaned into a fundamental question. Am I being trusted to win? The line he reportedly dropped was simple, surgical, a demand disguised as a surrender. If you won't trust me, trade me to someone who will. That phrase, whether exactly worded that way or not, landed like a grenade. Silence, then chaos. People in the building remember the pause like the calm before a storm. What happened next is where headlines diverge, and where caution matters. Multiple outlets described staff and players stunned, teammates reportedly wandering hallways, front office scrambling to manage a story ready to explode. Some social posts claimed physical theatrics inside the meeting, a tablet smashed, a door slammed. And those images, real or embellished, made the internet's feeds combust. But here's the anchor. While sources tell us emotions boiled over, independent verification of the most sensational physical details is thin. Treat the dramatic moments as reported impressions, not courtroom facts. Inside that locker room, though, something very real changed. Veterans who've lived through quarterback sagas told reporters they felt it. The line where quiet tolerance ends and active resistance begins. That's not a sports cliche. It's a locker room force of nature. When the people who throw, catch, and block for a guy start to question whether his situation is being mishandled, locker room chemistry tilts. Multiple accounts from staff and players, again, framed as anonymous to protect sources, suggest teammates privately rallied around the rookie afterward, offering embraces and quiet words. Publicly, they stayed measured. Privately, they shifted. That small human reaction is often the first visible crack in an organization's veneer. Now let's put coaching decisions in the center of the storm. This is where reporting gets concrete. Head coach Kevin Stefanski and his staff have publicly explained the quarterback development path and why Shedeur Sanders, the rookie at the story's center, hasn't been taking first-team reps in recent practice cycles. Outlets that covered the coach's comments point to a deliberate developmental plan and depth chart realities as the stated reasons. That explanation is important. It's the explicit rationale Cleveland is offering, while the rumor mill screams otherwise. Coaches always want to control the narrative, and Stefanski tried to do that on the record. But control fell apart somewhere between the locker room and the timeline on everyone's phone. Fans and social media don't do nuance. Within hours of the initial reports, feeds were full of two competing reactions. Fix it now, and trade him before it's tragic. And clips, memes, and one-line hot takes amplified a dozen versions of the same scene, each more theatrical than the last. Some posts painted the coach as authoritarian and stubborn. Others argued the young QB was skipping necessary development. And in the middle of that swirl, a cluster of videos and threads claimed a trade request had already been filed. A line that, important to say, paid attention to the fact-checking teams have pushed back on. Fact checks and deeper investigations note there's no verified formal trade request on file yet, but the rumor itself is the weapon. In modern sports, rumor can become reality faster than a franchise can pick up a phone. To understand why this moment threatens to become more than just camp drama, you have to understand the man in the middle. This rookie is not just any late-round story. He's a high-profile draft pick with pedigree, a family name that guarantees media attention, and a public brand bigger than most rookies. He signed a standard rookie deal, modest in dollars compared to a veteran star, but huge in narrative. That historical context matters because modern quarterbacks aren't only players anymore. They're brands. They have teams advising them, and they can manipulate public perception in ways previous generations could not. When a young player with that profile feels stalled, the reaction is rarely a quiet tweet. It's a full-court press across platforms and personnel. From the team's side, the explanation for fewer reps isn't a smoking gun of malice, it's a roster-level decision. But the optics are brutal. The Browns publicly point to other QBs ahead on the depth chart and to a development timeline. Pundits ask whether that's an excuse or an honest plan. On cable shows and morning segments, the framing shifted fast. Some analysts now call it poor stewardship of talent. Others say patience will be rewarded if the staff's plan plays out. The difference is not just philosophical, it's practical. If a rookie has legitimate franchise upside, every week he watches someone else take real reps is weeks of development and momentum gone. That's not just lost time. It's lost leverage and potentially lost prime years. And then there's the league's reaction. When a situation like this brews, rival teams and front offices start listening. Trade calls, or even the knowledge that calls are happening, push a franchise into decision mode. Industry chatter reported teams circling, assessing whether to make offers before the situation turns uglier. Some outlets suggest multiple clubs have made inquiries historically about roster movement in Cleveland's QB room. Teams are always opportunistic. But while the rumor that 3 teams were already on the phone makes for a dramatic lead, responsible reporting notes the difference between preliminary interest and a serious, formal offer. The market moves when offers become offers. Until then, talk is just a rumor with price tags. Back in the building, ownership and the front office have to decide what to do about immediate and long-term damage. When ownership steps in, as reports indicate they did to hold emergency meetings, the story turns from a personnel spat to an organizational emergency. Those private conversations are the ones that decide whether pride is swallowed and changes are made, or whether the organization doubles down and risks letting a valuable asset leave. Sources say meetings were convened to assess salvage operations and the public messaging that would follow. That action signals one of two things. Either leadership recognized the danger and moved early, or they finally admitted what fans suspected all along, that internal communication was not matching public promises. This is where we face the modern paradox. Coaches traditionally control practice, reps, and on-field usage. But rookies today can control timelines through media, agents, and public posture. They can make choices that create leverage, silence, selective social posts, or even family commentary. And the media amplifies it. A rookie who refuses to play the long game becomes a living, breathing negotiation tactic. That shift changes how franchises draft, mentor, and deploy quarterbacks. Talent alone isn't the only currency. Perceived opportunity equals value in today's marketplace. Which brings us to the human piece. Trust. Sources close to the quarterback reportedly say he doesn't feel merely frustrated or disappointed. He feels betrayed. That's a much heavier word. Betrayal implies promises were made in private and then contradicted in practice. For any player, but especially a young QB with a limited window, that feeling can end careers in a city that doesn't give second chances. When a player loses faith in the structure around him, coaching adjustments rarely fix the emotional fracture fully. Actions speak louder than press conferences, and in this case the actions, who gets reps, who gets the call, created a perception problem the front office now must fix, tangibly. Here's the clearest reality. The story that's playing out is a mixture of verifiable facts, plausible insider reporting, and viral amplification. On the factual side, coaches have explained practice reps and media outlets have reported on internal friction. On the rumor side, viral clips and some social posts have painted scenes that have not been independently confirmed. That dichotomy is why responsible coverage matters. The narrative is moving at the speed of a timeline. The facts are moving at the speed of confirmations. The gap between the two is where reputations get damaged. For the Browns, the options are brutal and binary in the short term. They can publicly and privately rebuild trust with the rookie, increased reps, a clearer timeline, demonstrable changes. Or they can accept calls and trade him while his value is high, before the season erodes public perception further. Either path has long-term consequences. Keeping him and repairing trust might salvage a franchise turning point. Trading him could be a capitulation that haunts the team. And that's the latest chapter in what's quickly becoming one of the wildest stories of the NFL season. Whether this ends in redemption or a blockbuster trade, one thing's clear. The drama in Cleveland isn't slowing down anytime soon. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay locked in on every twist, hit that like button. Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to Clutch Zone for more explosive NFL stories, locker room drama, and viral football moments. Until next time, stay clutch.